Friends, at the beginning of a new year, we often reflect on where we have been and where we are going. And in today's reading from Luke, we find a young 12-year-old Jesus caught in that in-between space, that space between childhood and adulthood, between the familiar and the unknown. The story invites us to consider our own journey, how we navigate our own growth, how we seek understanding, and how we respond to the divine spark within us. In the gospel narrative, Jesus, at age 12, stays behind in Jerusalem, immersed in the temple, seated among the teachers. When his parents return in search of him, Mary's question, why have you treated us like this, echoes the concern of every parent or caregiver or guardian watching over a loved one stepping beyond the bounds of the expected. And so, as the young Jesus sits in the temple, listening, questioning, and learning, he begins breaking away from the familiar patterns of his life. His questions are not about maintaining the way things have always been, but rather about seeking truth, even if it challenges the assumptions of those around him. Jesus' response, "Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" is as mysterious as it is profound for his parents, who struggle to understand. It signals a shift within Jesus, a dawning awareness of his deeper purpose in life. On this, the first Sunday of the new year, this story offers us a powerful metaphor for our own spiritual journey. At times, we too find ourselves being moved beyond familiar patterns, drawn towards something greater than ourselves, even when it disrupts the comfort of those around us. The call of our deeper, truer nature, our deeper purpose, can unsettle others and even ourselves. But it is part of what it means to grow. Thomas Keating once wrote that the greatest sin is the refusal to grow. And this warning speaks particularly to adulthood, where our ideas and beliefs can often become rigid and fossilized. In adulthood, there's always the danger of becoming cynical and jaded, feeling like because we've been around the block a few times, we now know exactly what to expect from life and how life works. Is it any wonder that for many adults, the magic of life, the magic of living, feels like it has gone? But what if we don't know the whole truth? What if, as St. Paul says, we indeed only see in part, and that in fact there is more here to see and more here to understand? And so this gospel story of the 12-year-old Jesus in the temple becomes an invitation to us to reflect on our growth, inviting us to consider four things. Firstly, the theme of seeking God in the temple, or the inner sanctuary of the heart. In the story, Jesus stays behind in the temple while his parents travel back to Nazareth. But the outward temple of Jerusalem was and is always only a symbol of the inner temple of the heart, the inner sanctuary that all of us must seek if we are to grow in wisdom and grace. At the beginning of this new year, are we willing to spend time like Jesus in the temple of the heart, the inner sanctuary, where God dwells, and where the seeds of God's Spirit within us can be tended and nurtured? Secondly, the passage invites us to find companions who might help us to grow. In the story, when Jesus' parents find him, not only is he in the temple, but he is seated among the teachers in the temple courts. He situates himself among those from whom he can learn. Within the Buddhist tradition, there is a story of the Buddha's disciple Ananda, who once remarked that good companionship is half of the holy life. But the Buddha corrected him, saying, "No, Ananda, good companionship is the whole of the holy life? Who are the companions in our lives? Those who stretch us and challenge us to grow, inspiring us with greater love and wisdom. Thirdly, the passage invites us to grow by deepening our listening. In verse 46, when Jesus' parents find him sitting with the teachers in the temple courts, the first word that describes what Jesus is doing is listening. Listening is an essential ingredient for any form of growth or learning. Henry Nouwen once said that listening is much more than allowing another to talk while waiting for a chance to respond. To listen deeply is to become open, attentive. It's the quality that opens the heart to another's truth, another's being. It is the quality that rests in stillness, welcoming what is unsaid as much as what is spoken. Listening is the quality that hears beyond words, that temporarily suspends judgment in order to find new understanding. Listening is the quality that creates space in which new possibilities, new perspectives, and new insights can be discovered. And listening requires humility and attentiveness. It calls for stillness and patience. Fourthly, not only is Jesus sitting amongst the teachers listening, he's also asking questions. Little children remind us of the importance of asking questions in order to grow in understanding. Why? Why? Questioning is essential if we are to grow. But unfortunately, Christianity has not always given space for people to ask questions. Questions have sometimes been shut down in the name of faith. It's one of the gifts of the non-subscribing Presbyterian Church of Ireland that its members are not asked to accept unquestioningly what the minister preaches from the pulpit, nor are they asked to accept unquestioningly a set of second-hand doctrines handed down to them. Questioning in our tradition is to be encouraged. Albert Einstein once said that the important thing is not to stop questioning. Never lose a holy curiosity. When we cease to be curious, asking probing questions, we stop growing. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen teacher, writes, "Sometimes the questions are more important than the answers, for the questions keep us present, humble, and open." And this is echoed in the words of Bertrand Russell, who once said the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. As our questions and doubts keep us humble, present, open, one could also say they keep us trusting in a higher wisdom, that there is something bigger at work than our egoic thinking. As the gospel story comes to an end, Jesus does not remain in the temple. He returns to Nazareth, to the ordinary rhythms of life, where he will need to integrate his spiritual insights into his daily living. And this is the balance that we're all called to embody, drawing strength from our inner sanctuary, from listening, asking questions, while also engaging fully in the responsibilities of the world. At the beginning of this new year, whether we choose to make resolutions or not, may we simply allow ourselves to be open, open to continue learning and growing. Like the boy Jesus in the temple, may we seek moments where we can enter the temple of the heart, the inner sanctuary of the spirit where God dwells. May we spend time with companions who stretch us and challenge our assumptions and help to grow our understanding. May we practice the art of deep listening, being open and attentive to life and to those that we meet. And may we nurture a holy curiosity, asking probing questions that keep us open and humble, and thus truly wise. Amen. God bless you and blessings for this new year, whatever it holds for you. Amen.